Hello, hello.
Hi.
Yo.
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi. Oi, oi. Alright, where am I back? Do.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Just tea.
Wow.
We are Chinese, if you please.
Got beer, though. For after the tea.
We are Siamese, if you don't please.
Cha-cha.
I used to have a Siamese barn cat way back when I was a young lad in the country. That thing
Such
never
nice and quiet beasts.
Oh, I know. That thing never shut up. I think it was louder than the dog.
Probably.
Mics are up.
12. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Oh no, mics are up.
No,
Uh,
They're taking our pennies.
no.
What are they doing with your panties?
Pennies.
it's way less
Twisting them in a
exciting.
knot.
Jokes on them. I don't have any pennies.
Or panties.
Eh.
I got nothing.
Let's just close that.
Apply for the better.
Probably.
X. J yet.
I shouldn't put my pick in podcast 503. That sounds like
I
an
won't
issue.
find it.
It'd be like just like Josh's pick.
Sure.
Um.
What is your pick? I want to steal it.
Yeah. Hold on.
What's this stupid thing called?
What was the one I had last week?
I bet it was an SSD.
Because I want to do another one now that I found.
Was it an SSD?
Yeah. And Mushkin one.
There was that SSD
Was that
combo
one that
on
big of
Newegg.
a? Was that one that actually that big of a discount? I don't really.
Not that one.
I don't want
130
that one.
Not that
for,
size.
It's
capped
for
at
a
60
500
hertz.
gig?
Oh,
That's
which size?
got a...
Just anything. Well, I'll find you the right one and put it in there.
Okay, thank you.
Because they kept the first three numbers the same in the model. It's
Okay.
between last year and this
You
year.
see this computer, Alex?
Sure, I do.
It's on
Take a-
wireless. Does it feel particularly laggy or anything? Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it.
Same amount of lag I normally see between when I move it here and when it shows up on the screen.
Yeah, there's about 5 to 7 frames between the camera and the monitor.
It's very exact.
We've timed it before.
One, two.
Yeah.
I'm curious
Three?
what my last week's was.
You
One-
can look.
You know, I've got
Only there was
storage
a
envy.
website you
That's
could go
all
and
there
look
is
at.
to it.
It's not a bad price.
Did you put it in there for me?
Not yet.
Storage envy.
It's fucking laptop blue screen again.
Oh yeah. Okay. That one was the 480 for $89.
So Ken, is that your side laptop that blue screened?
What?
Your side laptop, not your main laptop.
This is his podcast.
This
laptop.
is my podcast laptop currently.
Yeah.
I don't have a main laptop. I just
I
go
just
from
pulled-
laptop to laptop.
I
Can't
just
hold me
pulled
down.
a. Oh yeah, I'm going to New York tomorrow. I don't have a hotel. I should book that now. So still found a good deal. $229 for a decent hotel in New York City.
Well, that you think is decent so far.
Well, I can walk to my destination and not get mugged. New York City is very safe nowadays,
That's what they tell you.
relative to like San Francisco, or I would even say downtown Austin now.
I'm trying to get the imagery here of like roving bands of hippies.
No, it turns out
I
it's just
mean-
aggressive homeless people
Oh yeah,
in Austin too.
that's really bad in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either unconscious or up in your face.
I saw a homeless person fight when I was at like this little grocery store, and the grocery store clerk could not have been more
Apathetic.
uninterested in the fight that's happening outside. But like somebody, and then one of them came in and said, "I want to call the police and file charges." And this cashier person was just like, picked up the phone and was like, I don't remember their names. Like, Christine was in a fight again. Can we send somebody over here? Like, this is clearly a normal, recurring experience.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah. Yeah. 5 years ago, Austin wasn't like that at all. It was good downtown.
I love that keyboard.
Is that Josh's?
Yes,
Ain't mine.
it is.
Just blow. I was like, all right, how much gate do we need on this thing? Nope,
He's
nope.
managed to figure out how to get
nope.
a reverb pedal in between the keyboard and the sound system.
Whoa.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's dub.
Womp womp.
Well, bubs and wow wows with the Beardytron 9000.
All right. I have no reason to stop this, so should we start?
Remember,
Should we give you a
24th,
reason?
Fort Collins.
What?
Or 24th, Fort Collins.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
Saturday?
You need to remind me.
It's Sunday.
Remind me after our merch thing
Merch.
before we get to
Oh my god.
the stories that none of us that wrote are
Okay.
on the podcast.
Ooh, we're missing something on the rundown.
We are.
Yup.
Yeah.
Is it content?
It's the AMD thing we did.
Oh,
yesterday.
that was content.
Yeah. Antal was here.
It's a good time.
Mm-hmm. He came all the way from Austin to Florence, Kentucky. We took him to Chewy's. That originated in
Austin-based chain.
Austin, Texas.
Taste of home.
Is it not in the show notes either? Is that the?
It's in the very head of the show notes.
Oh, I see. Ah, I see.
Calling it Precinct 2 discussion. Live.
Call it Precinct 2 HDR discussion.
Mhm.
Sure.
I think we
have
should
one
just.
without the
I think we should just get rid
other.
of HDR. It's too complicated.
It's incredibly
This
complicated.
is what the conclusion I've come to in the past week.
Mhm.
No benchmarking an HDR display or attempting to.
I haven't seen Jim. Wasn't here when you got here today.
I haven't seen Jim this week. I don't think.
I saw Jim on Monday.
I didn't see Jim on Monday. Yeah, we could just leave him a note and the monitor and ask him to
Do this
run
thing.
it. Well, when you work in the dead of night, that's kind of how you have to do
That's
it.
true. Usually he's like coming in right about now.
All right. Here's that.
It would take us a long time to find out if Jim wasn't with us anymore.
I'm trying to think if there's any bills he pays that I would notice.
I don't think so.
I don't
The
think
Plex
so.
server went down?
If the Plex server suddenly didn't reboot or something after an update, I'd be like, where the hell is Jim? It's been 6 weeks.
You go to Europe or something?
It's like Alan. We fired him and he just never shows up
Who?
anymore. I never heard of the guy. All right, now we're ready.
I believe we're ready.
Okay, here we go.
It's tricky to walk around, and rhyme on time. It's tricky.
Is that what they say? Rhyme on time?
Seems
I haven't
plausible.
I don't
slightest
know.
clue.
Probably.
Seems plausible.
I always heard right on time, but rhyme sounds a lot
yeah,
better.
I think that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
I always knew Josh was the hip one.
I mean, I grew up in the '80s, essentially.
Mhm.
Run DMC. It was the first really huge rap song to make it big in Thermopolis, Wyoming.
Thermopolis. That's a great name.
That sounds like a city out of a Superman comic book.
It was once mentioned in a Daffy Duck
Yeah,
cartoon.
that was close.
Claim to fame.
Thermopolis, Wyoming. Must be a pretty big place with a name like that.
It does sound more important than it probably is.
It really is.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 504, being recorded on June 20th, 2018. I'm Ryan Shrout.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Ken Addison.
Alan Malventano still fired. He hasn't come crawling back, offering to work for half as much money or anything, but I'm holding out hope one day that'll happen.
It's annoying to have to cross the picket line every day coming in here.
It's just a bunch of little Allens pacing back and forth out front.
Just a line of hard drives like dominoes. It's weird.
You just step over the boxes and walk in. Yeah, it is. It can be a little awkward. So where am I at here? Oh, I'm looking on the wrong section here. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a podcast
That
here.
we're super prepared for. every
always
week.
always very prepared. A lot of stuff that we talk about. I don't know. Look, it's computer hardware. We're going to talk about that. There's not a whole lot that happened this week, to be fair. It's going to be a lot of the Jeremy show. And I'm fine with that. But before we get into that, let's go over some of the logistics. PCPer.com. It's the best website in the world. You should go there and read all the things that we post. Also, PCPer.com/podcast is where this is posted. It's probably where you're watching it at. And we do record the show live on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific at PCPer.com/live. And if you need a little reminder about that, we have a chat room. You can come hang out before and after. We do pre-show, post-show kind of banter. At PCPer.com/subscribe, you get this page here. It's your name, email address. That's all we need from you. And we'll send you notification about these live events. And we sometimes do, occasionally, more frequently, sometimes here than others, have third-party in here, right? Like as we did this week, we'll talk about in a second. AMD was here. We had a contest. We did a live stream. If you missed out on that, well, you missed out on that. But we have the replay for you. But the prizes are already they're already spoken for. We still have our Patreon campaign going. That is at patreon.com/PCPer. And this is your place where if you want to become a regular contributing member to us from a financial standpoint, you can do that. Like it can be, we have these different levels here of 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, but you can do $1 a month. You can do $100 a month, anything you want. It's all appreciated and welcomed. And this allows us to, continue to pay people and do things and try to be more creative. The mailbag that we do as a result of this, and it's fun. And as I always refer to the picture of Josh here in the bathtub. I'm glad we don't have a newer updated one of this, to be honest.
Because I've gained like 100 pounds and that robe wouldn't fit me anymore. And okay, I haven't really gained that much, but
At least you got your pants on in it, so I still really
At
greatly
least.
appreciate that. So again, and that's like if you run an ad blocker, which whatever, guys, I think they take about 40% of the traffic away from our ad viewing inventory on a daily basis. So that kind of stinks. But if you do that, it's like, hey, you know what? I like the podcast. We like the reviews. Here's $3 a month. Boom, $3 a month gets you access to seeing the post show video. We send that to the Patreon members. So like if you download this, you don't watch it live, so you want to see whatever sometimes funny, sometimes really not funny things that we talk about after the show, you can do that way. And as of course, if you become a new patron and or increase your patronage during the show, I will give you a shout out on said show. Nothing yet, so we'll move on. We do the mailbag PC Per mailbag as it is. We had our 47th episode this past week.
Almost a year.
Creeping up on that 50 mark and that year mark. Yep. We answered such
52.
questions as about the 8086K, gaming chairs, RAM failure, hardware fixes for Spectre Meltdown, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's Josh and sometimes it's Alan. So if you have a question, you can leave them in the comments of this page here, and it's another way where we try to create some more interesting and unique comments and content for you guys. We also did our let's see, what did I have that in the wrong order? There it is.
Yeah.
We have our merch store here at joshtech.com. JOSHTEKK.com is the website for this. You can get your Death Wish Raid t-shirt, your Hot Dog Down a Hallway t-shirt, for those of you who remember that reference. Super Pipe as well. You got your classic PC Per logo tee here. Never goes out of style. Always the best color. We have mugs, PC Perspective mugs, the Josh Tech mug, the Josh Tech print. And so you can clearly see the resemblance here between Josh Tech. I don't even know which one's the real one. If you had a steering wheel in your hand, it would be.
That's a lot bigger than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Actually.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's gonna hang up in the back behind the by the F4.
Josh Tech print as it is can
Look
be
at
yours in navy
Look
blue
at
or a
that.
gray.
I had to do it. My wife was very impressed.
Yeah. Does she think you're famous now?
Yes, it's bizarre.
It's odd that would be the thing that now she's finally understands what it is you do every week on this show, right?
Yeah, people send me art.
People make art of me, and then I
Yeah.
pay to have it printed out and hang on my wall.
So close, so close.
Oh man. As I mentioned before, we did have another live stream this week. Yesterday, actually, as we
Yeah.
record this on Tuesday. AMD was in town, and we talked about FreeSync 2. It's actually now called FreeSync 2 HDR. There should actually be a space between those two things, but we'll let it slide for now.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it happens. World exclusive. They announced that FreeSync 2 is going to be called FreeSync 2 HDR. World exclusive. They announced that FreeSync 2 HDR was now going to follow and track with the Display HDR 600 standard, right?
Yeah.
So that or above in order to be a FreeSync 2 HDR monitor. And also world exclusive, you can see an early peek at a new demo that AMD's content team wrote to demonstrate variable refresh, HDR. They're going to freely distribute it so that you
It's a
can.
really cool demo.
It
It's
is.
one of the better demos I've seen in the past couple of
Yeah,
years.
it looks really good. You know what? He deleted that off of our system.
He did.
He deleted it off our system. Usually we can convince people to leave that behind. We won't do anything with it, just so we can mess around and see it.
Yeah.
We never got to use it on an actual HDR.
No,
panel.
we used it on the TV last night.
Oh, I must have not. I must have been in the bathroom or something during that. I don't know. But I didn't see it. But if you missed the stream, you can see the replay. If you go to PCPer.com, look for the PC Per Live. AMD joins us to talk about FreeSync for HDR, or you can go to the YouTube channel and you'll see a replay there. Has some Q&A in there. I think some really good, interesting information about FreeSync and kind of what its future and direction looks like. So now, with that out of the way, let's talk about this other stuff that happened. Oh wait, hold on. We got our patron emails in. We have a new pledge who went from $1 to $3. Thank you very much to Terry Corker.
Nice.
Appreciate that increase. That's 3x the donation that he was making before. I love it. And we have
Isn't that incredible?
It is. We have a new $3 patron as well from Joel Luthi. Joel Luthi. Thank you so much, Joel. We greatly appreciate that. Any and everybody who is a patron, we think it's awesome, and we thank you so much for your support of this very podcast and show. Now we'll get on to the content, starting with this Gigabyte X299 Designaire EX motherboard review. So this is an X299 board, meaning it is Intel's Skylake X platform, also kind of Kaby Lake X. You know, if you can still buy those parts, right? I think you can still technically buy them.
I'm not
They're
sure
probably still available.
every X299 motherboard supports
Oh,
Kaby Lake
well.
X or not, because having messed with Kaby Lake X for the first time recently,
That's
which
true.
is odd. Just the memory channels and everything's weird.
Yeah. This is kind of a new. I don't think I want to say new, but it's one of the first times we've looked at a Gigabyte board from the Designair portfolio. It's more of a, there's RGBs on here. We can't get past the fact that there are RGB lights, but how would you describe this? It's more
workstation.
Yeah, I
than
was gonna say
anything.
it's like a refined design. It's
Yeah.
not crazy gamer LEDs, although you could probably make them flashing and all kinds of different things if
God,
you
I
really
hope
want to. Now it's an expensive board too. It's about a $500 motherboard, and that's not terribly uncommon in the X299 world. You can find X299 world. There's an Asus board, and I think there's an MSI board as well. That's kind of in that price
It's the
range.
higher end.
Yeah. It's got a back base plate on it, aka armor, which I think is pretty neat. I think it looks good. It's got server class power design, server level chokes. Again, take that for what you will. You can read some of the technical specifications that differ with that. Of course, lighting. I told you it was RGB here, guys. You could still RGB the F out of this stuff. And
That looks like easy to use software.
What is
A.
it doing?
Mode B. Mode C. Smart headphone amp. Josh, you might appreciate this. High impedance headphones are supported. Big audio caps as well.
Look at the size of those caps.
Yeah, there they go.
Big audio
WIMA.
caps, kind of like Big Audio Dynamite, except
WIMA.
not as catchy.
Yep. So
Sure.
this motherboard has
Are there 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports?
yes. No. Well,
has
USB
a-
3.1
it
Type
has
C
the
has a logo.
logo.
You also have DisplayPort in. 2 DisplayPort in.
Oh, that's
ports.
for patch through. So
It's
yeah,
for
they
pass through
are.
of Thunderbolt.
Wow.
So it does support Thunderbolt, 2 10 gigabit Thunderbolts on here, and it has the DisplayPort in so that if you, what is that for? You take display out of your
Graphics card.
graphics card into the DisplayPort in on the motherboard, and then now you can use DisplayPort.
Well, it's like
displays.
if you're using
Or
the LG
Thunderbolt
5K
display.
monitor, which is technically only a Thunderbolt monitor. So you need to pass both through the same connection.
Got it. So it's got some nice features on it.
It has a
802.11.
PS2 port too.
It does.
Ah.
It does.
That's what makes it server class.
That's right. Support for legacy input devices. It does have wireless 802.11 AC, and you can see there some of the details on its storage interfaces. 1 M.2, 2 M.2s, 3 M.2s.
And I hear 4 M.2.
No, just 3. We
Okay.
stop at 3. Just 3. So a lot of cool stuff goes into this. Maury does a good job on these reviews. Let's see. Those were the PR photos. What's it look like in real life?
I like the logo, the Designair logo. If you scroll up on
Yeah.
the box, it's cool.
Yeah. Is it on
Different.
it's
kind
kind
of
of
the
like
chip-
faceted
yeah.
thing? It's on
It's
the
on the
it's on the
chipset.
chipset cooler. Okay. Yeah. I think they did a good job on this, right? You can debate the value or benefit of kind of that rear plate armor type stuff that they have on there, but it definitely looks neat. It's protective of the PCB, I think
Protect
clearly.
your hands when you pick it up. You don't get
That's
poked by
true.
the solder points on the back.
This board does have 8 DIMM slots. Not all X299 boards have that. Some of them have been moving to 4 just from spacing limitations. 2 8-pin auxiliary power connectors for the processor. So a lot of beefy upgrades on this particular board. Yeah, there's that chipset for you. Oh, there. Okay, that's why the third M.2 is
Oh.
hidden, because it's designed to look like it's part of that chipset cooler, but it's actually separate on there. That's pretty neat. Actually, lots of SATA ports, no sex ports as we call them. Looks like that might be SATA Express seeing the end of the line there.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I mean, they made so many products for it.
exactly.
I had a lot
Exactly.
of motherboards.
So this is again it's Skylake X, so 7900 series. Is it all 7900? Yeah, all the way up to the 18 core 7980 XE processor available here. What did Maury get on his overclock? He has a 7900X, I believe, was able to get CPU to 4.7 gigahertz on all cores, which is pretty good. And even though it has an MSRP of $500, it's $432 on Amazon and Newegg when he wrote this piece. So, it's practically a steal.
I mean,
think,
with
at
the
that point.
Thunderbolt, like the Thunderbolt 3 add-in card from Asus Gigabytes, somewhere north of $50, I think. So, if you need Thunderbolt 3 for some odd particular reason on your desktop, like
You can
it
have
would
the
be a good
5K
option
display,
to
you
have
can
it
have
Especially
a-
the monitor
integrated.
pass through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even a handful of monitors or a handful of motherboards that actually support that.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. It did get an Editor's Choice Award for Mori here, so that's a good sign. Weaknesses included that CMOS battery placement.
Damn it!
It's,
I know.
did you notice where it was?
Oh,
No, where
It's
was it?
hidden
think-
underneath that M.2 heat shield,
Mm.
right by the PCI Express slot.
these guys should know better. They should know better.
He's only written that
makes me
about
so angry.
700 times in our reviews. So, hey, look what we're getting an ad for over here. Do you see that, Alex?
I know nothing.
I wonder why we're getting those ads on our network. So check out the review again. That's the Gigabyte X299 Design Air EX motherboard, an impressive piece of hardware from Gigabyte. And also from Sebastian, we have a review of the Silverstone Redline series, the RL07 tempered glass case. This just went up today. I kind of like the night shot there. Night shot, I guess. The dark room shot
No, he had to take it at night.
is pretty good.
His house is made of
He
windows.
can't afford curtains because he spent it all on audio gear.
That's true. That's true. It's got an interesting design, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It is a square normal chassis with kind of a different design put on the front of it, right? Like a lot of cases.
It's like the robot from Interstellar.
I
The
don't
walking
remember
one.
that.
Remember when walking? It
yeah,
just like
yeah.
poured-
Okay.
yeah.
Jax or something. What was it called?
I don't know. Who
Sure.
cares?
So in full daylight without the lights, it looks okay. It doesn't look particularly stunning, but it does have that tempered glass panel on there, which obviously adds a lot to it. From the front, depending on your lighting, it might not look like anything in particular.
Where does the optical drive go?
Well, you cut a hole in the tempered glass and just kind of shove it in there.
Hey Josh, I heard a rumor today. You ready for this? As I scroll through these
Okay.
pictures, one of the items being tariffed at 25% is optical drive readers,
Bye.
starting July 6th.
Wow, so they're not going to be $19 anymore.
They're going to be.
I think there's probably still going to be some
26
stock in the U.S. to get through.
Just a little.
So keep that in mind if you're looking to buy optical drives. Maybe buy now or something. So
Or
here you can see
regret it later.
the layout of the case. Standard ATX design. You got your cable pass through, for cleanliness, if you will. You've got your CPU black plate cut out. Power supply section is in a divided section there. I would say a fairly standard case design. Sebastian thinks it's fairly well built, high quality build. We've got your
Yeah,
storage.
Silverstone's I've had some of their case. I still got that RVO2 or whatever
Oh yeah.
it is. And that thing is a brick. You can throw it through walls and it just laughs at you.
I would
Tears
not
my fingers
recommend
off when I
doing
try
that.
to unscrew things. It's awesome.
Yeah, it looks like a well-designed case, and you're right. Silverstone is known for that, especially if you look back in their all aluminum, like what do you call it, where it's like made out of one piece of aluminum, like molded.
Billet?
I don't remember the term for it, but
Unibody.
sure, yeah, we'll take that. We'll take the Apple approach to it.
Monocoque.
So good design. I think the style that we showed at the beginning of it, it's going to be, do you like it or do you not? Fairly quiet on terms of noise level, a little bit higher on temperatures than some of the other cases that Sebastian has looked at recently. But look at that light. Look at that photography work.
Ominous.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Ominous.
good. Yeah.
Dominus.
Luminous.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because they got rid of all that junk in the front of the case on the inside of it, and
Yeah.
it runs hot. Is that just because of the small inlet on the front?
I mean, probably. So it looked like it was taking a lot of air in from the sides
Mm.
of that front case, and yeah, that's not nearly as efficient as having, some mesh fan grill on the front. Sebastian also noted that at $110, it's putting itself into some higher end competition as well, for better performance, as you're noting there, Alex. So it does have, I think, a cool vibe with the light and kind of the design there. But check out the review and look at any of the other ones that Sebastian has written up many of on the website over the last, I don't know, dozens of years. Before we move on, we do have another patron. This is a new one, a new $20 patron.
Holy cow.
From Jeff Breyer. Thank you very much, Jeff, for your support. $20, awesome. I hope Josh can live
Give
up
him the
to
shocker for.
No,
He deserves a double shocker.
No,
No, probably not.
Oh,
that's a very personal thing between him and whoever his most
And his
intimate partner
Patreon.
is. Yeah,
mm.
that was not in any of the documentation from the Patreon campaign, is what I'm saying, Josh.
You'll receive one shocker.
at a moment of our choosing.
You're gonna have to pay way more for that.
So as we get into the first news item, I do want to point out. Can you bring up this thing here? I don't know. Bring up the see here. You can't really see the whole ad. You see
That's
this,
just
see this
text,
EVGA
huh?
ad? It's all text. And we had a discussion about this today. And like, hey, we want to update the banners. It's like, I mean, we can do whatever you want, right? Like, yeah, I'll put this up there. How effective do you think that's going to be?
Nope.
I predict higher than expected click-through rates on that
because you never see it.
because you never see that, right?
Mhm.
It's not flashing. It's not whatever. It's just like, hey, what is this? And you might
Yeah.
actually read it and go, okay, sure, and give it a clickaroo. I'm not imploring you on the podcast listeners, viewers to do that.
I'm
But if you
imploring
wanted to,
But if you wanted
Click
to,
early, click often.
that's fine. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, we've got some interesting stuff to run through here, and it's going to be a lot of the Jeremy show. We're going to start with this one, though. Steam is going Windows 7 and up. Valve has announced that Steam Client has deprecated Windows XP and Windows Vista. Is anybody else...
No more 16-bit OSs?
I mean,
Damn it.
to be fair, it's only been a couple of years since we installed Steam on Windows XP when we unboxed that Voodoo 5.
That's true. Yeah.
We had to put together an older system.
If somebody had told me, Steam ditched Windows XP a couple of years back, I would not argue
You're like,
with
yeah,
them.
of course.
Right. I'd be like, yeah, well, duh, of course they would do that thing. Jeremy, Josh, any thoughts on this? Is this, as Scott and rightfully points out, like 32-bit Windows XP was currently sitting at 0.34% market share. Windows Vista was unlisted. But if you have, legacy games that you wanted to play, and I know this group tends to be a little bit more weighted in that way, taking away this option might kind of suck a bunch.
Yeah, I don't
Boy,
know how you.
Vista was a pretty OS, though.
Sure, why not?
Sure. Well, at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
My retro gaming system with the K62 Plus running at 550 megahertz on Windows 98 doesn't care about Steam and Steam games from 2003 and beyond.
Sure.
But
I've got everything that I run on that on CD and an optical drive.
Yeah, but Steam doesn't only have games that were made after 2003,
Yeah, I know that, but
and it's an easy distribution method.
I've got everything on CD, so why do I care?
Well, if you want to play King's Quest 8 one day and you don't have the CD, think about it.
I only live in the past, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
And
King's
there's
Quest
nothing
5.
new in my past.
To me, I feel like
Yeah.
just the cool things that you could do, like going into Windows XP and booting up old drives or old systems is kind of disappointing. But
I mean, the chefs really
Like,
cut support, like whatever.
fr-
It's
from
fine.
from a logistical standpoint and like man-hour standpoint, again, they said Windows XP was listed as 0.34% and Windows Vista was 0, not
Yeah.
even on the list.
It'd be nice if they
Like,
could
all right.
make some way to maintain compatibility so it could still connect to the servers and download stuff.
Yeah, I
But
would
I
like
could see
like,
that being
I'd like
maybe
to
a
say,
potential.
hey, we're not updating Steam anymore,
Yeah.
but then it's a security issue,
Yeah,
right? And,
I mean, Steam won't let you connect unless you have the latest client
true.
for the most part.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Sorry, everybody. And this story was written by Tim, our next story, but it really, I think, really comes at the heart from our Canadian friend about BlackBerry back in the fold, back in the news.
Like who now?
Launching a smartphone with a physical ass keyboard. They say it's
And a
security
headphone
focused.
jack.
And a headphone jack, yes.
Everything you look for.
Headphone jack, physical keyboard, BlackBerry brand. This is exactly the phone I used in
How
2003.
many years ago did we just time travel?
I'm not convinced that a physical keyboard still isn't a good idea for productivity people on phones. Now you
There's
have
a lot of negatives.
I mean, it's basically the negative of screen real estate, right? There's no other negative.
I meant your statement.
Oh,
Not convinced there isn't a reason to not have a physical keyboard anymore.
sure. I think it made sense. What I don't know now is in today's world, would I be able to type faster on a physical smartphone
You would.
keyboard or a virtual one? You,
You
think
would.
I'd still be able to type faster?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
gotcha.
so the Key One came out last year, I think, maybe
Mhm.
end of 2016, and like it has a decent following. There's some people that like phone reviewers that actually liked that phone a decent amount. There's some
Yeah.
issues like you're probably not going to see a lot of Android updates coming from BlackBerry. Like they're not a quote unquote top tier manufacturer, but the general consensus is going back to that physical keyboard. You still type faster than you do on a touchscreen. It is
Yeah.
still a hindrance.
How do you do emojis though?
Okay,
You
Google.
use the special key. There's a special key on the side that you hit, and you can do.
But it's got to bring up an on-screen keyboard, right?
Probably.
It's got to bring up an on-screen emoji board.
Sure.
Right,
Y-
essentially.
Yes, you don't have an infinite keyboard. Sorry.
Or I mean, you could put like a colon and a bracket.
Why don't they just make these physical buttons tiny OLED screens so that when they hit the shift button,
Yeah.
it does that?
It does have a symbol key.
Yeah, but yeah. Look, I was a significant detractor to virtual keyboards for a long time.
No, you weren't.
That's why I used the Pre for as long as I did. Right.
That's why you kept handing me off the old BlackBerry.
Well, because I thought
At
you could maybe be
CES.
productive finally with it, right? You know, I tried.
I mean, I did send some nice pictures.
They were very dark. Thank God the cameras there were low detail back in that day.
Yeesh.
I don't have anything else to say, but I think it's
expensive.
interesting. Is
It's
it
expensive is the
too?
issue.
Oh, is it really?
It's
Oh yeah.
it's flagship phone costs for not very good hardware.
Snapdragon 660,
Yeah.
6 gigs of RAM, 64, 120 gigs of storage, 3,500 milliamp hour battery. That used to be the big thing with Blackberries as well, was the battery life. I don't know if that's still the case.
Yeah,
Because
Well,
it's-
they're claiming 2 days of mixed usage. But
650.
we'll see.
costs $650 in the US.
Yeah. Hey,
It's-
they
And
don't
that's
make
the,
as many
64 gig, not the 128.
They don't make as many physical keyboards. Turns out they're higher cost now.
Yeah.
It's got all the modern features, Bluetooth 5, 802.11ac, headphone jack, things like that. Oh, was it AC?
Yeah.
802.11ac?
You
Nope.
can't make it happen.
I know, it just
With
yeah,
Siri,
that's
it
true.
doesn't work.
I don't know. I would love to try it, but I wouldn't pay $650 to try it.
If this was somehow a $350 phone, I think they might compel some people to switch. But like this,
Yeah.
there's no reason to buy a BlackBerry Android
It's-
phone now.
It's a feature phone, Ken. It's just
The
the
feature
feature
is
doesn't
keyboard.
necessarily align with a lot of people's desires.
I think a lot of people still have the desire for a physical keyboard if it was
If it was
practical
an option,
thing. and
I
an
would
option.
take one in a second.
yeah.
I
Because
just
the
don't.
thing is, the Apple that I've got, the I think it's an 8. Yeah, it's wonderful and it shows videos and you can play games on it. It's like I email on it. I've never launched a game. I don't watch video on it.
Yeah.
Give me the damn keyboard back because it's a damn work phone and I'm emailing.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm surprised how little content viewing I do on my phone. Like, it's scrolling through
Yeah.
Reddit, right?
Yeah.
It's scrolling through Facebook and those types of things, but I'm not watching a full-length movie on my phone.
No.
And and listen to Spotify on headphones. Turns out it doesn't matter what the screen is. I was looking to see, it's a 4.5-inch screen, so it's still a pretty good size screen on that.
It's like you're in the bathroom and all you do is scroll through Twitter. You don't watch Hulu on that damn thing.
Exactly. I don't. But there are some people that do, and I think the younger generation absolutely does. Right? They'll just sit there and that's like their only consumption device. And it's crazy to me.
Yeah, and my child does, and I yell at him.
Yeah.
Get out of the damn bathroom.
We had that argument with my daughter today at dinner, who is not 3 years old yet, but like wants to watch YouTube videos. She likes to watch people unbox toys and play with them, right? And we have this fight every time about, no, it's dinner time. We're putting all this away. She doesn't understand why, right? And they probably won't understand until they're 25 why. But
you're hopeful, aren't you?
yeah. But so it's a different mentality. I'm with you. Like my phone is like a work device / I don't know, I'm bored, distract me for 20 minutes until, process X is finished. So yeah, I don't know. I wish them luck, and if they want to send me one to like bang on for a couple of weeks, I would love to try a physical keyboard again. I kind of feel like I would have trouble going back at this point.
Well, one of the interesting things, and it was a bunch of bloggers that said it, and I didn't see them actually touch the keyboard, which made it something I'm not completely believing, but they say it feels more like the Bold than it does like the more recent ones.
That'd be good.
And that would be nice, because the bloody Q10, it was just such a squishy keyboard, it didn't feel like one.
Yeah, the Bold was my last BlackBerry device.
It's peak BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this phone have a ball?
No.
Like the scroll? Like, no.
There's no nipple.
That was good.
No,
The
it
scroll
wasn't.
wheel? Yeah, with the mouse cursor on your
You know
little
how
tiny
many
screen.
people came to me with like BlackBerry Bolds and Pearls with that like button stopped working and like fell out because they dropped the phone.
Well,
Then you couldn't navigate through your phone.
they didn't have a cool belt clip holster with the magnetic flip on it, because that's how
I
you
guess
kept
not.
that baby
Exactly.
safe. That's how you kept that baby safe. There was something else I had an interlude moment here, and now
it's gone.
It's gone. Let's
Only
move on to the
for
next
a
story.
moment, and the
Uh,
moment's gone.
Jeremy, tell me about this. Apparently, there's a refreshed rumor about an 8-core mainstream processor. This is coming from the Inquirer, who also heard they suggest a 22-core high-end model is a possibility. Are we looking at updated Skylake X or a new architecture on this?
We're looking at Truth in Advertising. They're going to call it Coffee Lake Refresh. Or at least,
Okay.
The code name behind the scenes that we all know, which is nice.
You know,
'cause Coffee
CLR,
Lake S,
which is that really good cleaner that takes out the calcium, lime, and rust.
I didn't think of that, but now I love it. So how does that work as a heat spread? A good thermal paste, CLR?
Yeah, it'll dissolve your heat spreader, but sure, why not?
think it's
Limited
worth
time
a
use.
shot.
Oh yeah,
It would
so
make it
PC
really
Watch
Well,
was
my
the-
copper and my zinc together.
Once you got them together, you'll never want to take them apart.
So, I mean,
But,
anything else stand out on that?
This is two
Yeah, well-
rumors.
Right.
So neither of these are set in stone, but I think a Coffee Lake refresh with an 8-core it makes a lot of sense, especially with what Ryzen's doing. The one that doesn't make sense, which was a rumor about a PC watch, is a 22-core high-end desktop processor, which I personally find a very odd core count.
They have an 18.
Well, you don't need a 1 horsepower cooler to handle a 22 core versus a 28.
Well, don't say that.
Depends on the clock speed.
It does.
Depends on the clock speed. Yeah, I don't. We had been hearing rumors about the 8-core. A lot of people expected 8-core Coffee Lake
At Computex.
at Computex with that Z390 chipset.
They
that's
released
been
the winner
released
of an
everywhere.
8086K instead.
Yeah, it wasn't a great part. The 8-core never materialized, but everybody still assumes it's coming. We didn't have a news story on it yet, but there were the rumors, the leak of the Threadripper 2290X or 20.
Yeah.
Is that what they called it?
2990.
2990X, which was a 32-core. Some Cinebench numbers that came out. I don't remember what they were or if they matched up with what AMD had They didn't show Cinebench before,
No,
did they?
they didn't.
But in those leaks, it also showed an 8-core, 16-thread Intel like engineering sample part
Yeah.
that didn't have a model number associated with it. And so now, of course, if you're Intel, you're like, okay, is AMD leaking these benchmarks, and how do they have this 8-core part that we didn't announce yet? And
Vice
or if
versa.
it's an overclocker that has this, how does he have these things yet? Or are we sending him stuff and he's getting these new Threadrippers? We should probably reevaluate that relationship somewhat. But interesting nonetheless. Do you think it's too late for an 8-core from Intel to matter?
No,
No,
it needs to. Yeah, I mean,
needs to be.
It
Yeah.
needs to be here now.
Yeah. I mean, at the
Okay.
very least, they have to say, look, we can do it.
they need to take away the advantage AMD has, right? Like AMD,
Yeah.
the advantage they still have with the 2700X over the 8700K, besides a little bit of a price lead, is the fact that they have 2 more cores and 4 more threads. Take that away with the better
I
single
think-
thread performance, and don't charge $700 for it, and it would be a really good part. But we'll see about that.
I'd
last
be even
part.
more impressed if they could throw a couple of extra PCIe lanes in there, too.
Even if they don't do that, like it
But
would
even if
still
they don't
be
do
the
it,
best
it's-
gaming GPU by far.
Yeah. Mm. Did they have any time frame for these rumors or for these products that are rumored, Jeremy?
Well, I mean, they'll come out when they come out because none of these companies will admit to anything when these rumors start breaking.
Yeah.
So, which one do you think we'd see first, Ryan? An 8-core or a Skylake X refresh? Like, which refresh will come first?
8-core. I think it would be 8-core. Although that is the most difficult of them to offer because that's actually like a new chip, right? Because the 22-core, I believe, just exists as a Xeon already that you can rebrand.
I don't know if there's a Xeon W22 core or not. I'd have to look.
Yeah, maybe not because even the Apples stop at 18-core, right?
Yeah.
And the Xeon Brem. Yeah. I still think it would be 8. I think that's where their margin's the other one, but that's where their volume is.
Yeah,
It's gonna be with that
E5 2699 V4.
That's an old CPU.
Yeah, that's an old one, but it does have
That's
22
a
cores.
Broadwell CPU.
Yeah, 2016.
Okay.
But there's not a
There's
Xeon,
no Xeon
W
equivalent. Yeah.
No, there's nothing
Okay.
newer than that coming up.
And Xeon W tops out at
I'd say
18.
8-core, and I think you're right. That's what the unfortunate thing for Intel, especially after the Computex no-show for it, like that's what everybody
Yeah.
thought we were going to see. Like all the rumors, like, oh, this is going to be here. It's going to be this, this, this. And instead, we had the 28-core 5 gigahertz fiasco occur,
Yeah.
right? And the 8086 launch that was also not
great.
well received. So we'll follow up more on that before we get to the next story. Another Patreon edition. It's an edit. Let me see how much. Okay, they went up more than $1, so I'll say it. They went from $3 to $4.20.
Blaze it.
Nice. From Mr. Poopy Butthole.
They live in Canada.
I feel like that's actually Josh. Just he wants to make things
I'm
interesting.
Not, no, I
That's
mean
all.
I'm crass and I'm lowbrow, but I'm
For sure. Oh no, we know that. We know that.
Do you have any bad memories of Mr. Poopy Butthole?
This next story
I
is
did work in the ER for 5-6 years. So
Then
yes,
you would.
There are many. Yes.
Thank you for stopping. This next story is maybe one of my favorite things that's happened recently.
It's pretty good.
It's meaningless. It's juvenile. It's trolling, but it was pretty funny. So if
It's
you
also only available in the U.S., which is annoying.
well, hey, we're the best, except for the tariff part. The Intel had that contest for the Core i7-8086 where they were going to give away 8086 Core i7-8086, right? So they had this competition. Well, AMD set up their own deal where if you were one of the first 40 people accepted that won an 8086, you could trade in your 8086 and they would give you a Threadripper 1950X, a Ryzen Threadripper 1950X, which is a 16-core 32-thread processor. And they posted about it, and hey, if you won, congratulations, now you can upgrade to like the real high performance part. And it's like I said, it's juvenile, but it was kind of funny. I chuckled when I saw that. And then Intel even responded to it, and actually, Jeremy, you linked to that here on this Inquirer post. I'm gonna see if they have a screenshot of it. Nope. Here we go. So Intel responded with, "Hey, AMD Ryzen, if you wanted an Intel Core i7 8086 processor too, you could have just asked us. Thanks for helping us celebrate the 8086."
I don't think that's true. I think if they asked for one, they wouldn't.
I don't think they would either.
Yeah, they would have gotten the double finger,
Yeah.
Rick from the Young Ones type.
I did see several media Twitter people say like, this is a good way for AMD to source 40 testing samples for them to have on site of the Core i7 8086 as well, rather than going out and buying them. But
it'd actually be pretty unfortunate if you were one of these winners and you wanted to swap your thing, because it's like a 4 to 8 week lead time to get the 8086K from Intel, and then there's like another 6 to 8 week lead time to get the 1950X. So by the time you get the 1950X, it'll be an old processor.
So in 4 months from now, you can have
but it's still 16 core, 32 thread.
Yeah. And a more expensive motherboard.
If you look at retail price of these processors, AMD's giving you about a $900 part for the cost of a $450 part.
Not shabby.
It's pretty good. And like I said, it's pretty fun. I'm sure if you're Intel, you're both ha ha ha, good job, and then you're flicking them off when they turn around, type of thing, right?
Yeah,
like it's one of those asshole moves. But it is stereotypical, very very typical internet trolling type of thing. So
entertaining from all sides.
Yeah. What else we have? Alienware in the news, kind of, I guess, on this one, Jeremy. What are we looking at here? This was a story over at Digitimes, kind of looking at, I guess, market share of some of these system builders.
Dude, a whole bunch of people got Dells.
Didn't this? Yeah, that guy went to jail or
It's
something.
the guy.
Yeah. That guy went to jail.
Yes, he did, and not soon enough. So far this year, Asus
he
and
was
MSI.
only busted for marijuana. He didn't actually serve any time.
Oh, I thought it was something worse than that. I forgot.
No, he got caught with some dope.
Yeah.
Other
Not
than
just
he
a
has,
dope system.
bad taste and did off Broadway stuff.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
So if you pick up a gaming laptop, chances are it's going to be either Asus or MSI. And over 1 million people or 2 million people chose that. But the thing is that Dell, which is usually floating around 100, 150K, hit 500K of units already sold. And Lenovo is being a little cagey, but is probably along those same lines, which is, a huge chunk of the market that used to be going to the two big players.
And this is gaming notebooks specifically, I'm sorry?
Yeah, this is specifically gaming laptops.
Okay.
And so not even just business laptops, they're gaming brands. And I mean, part of the reason that it's been so lucrative for the last, say, 18 months is because, well, you could pick up a decent gaming laptop or you could buy a GPU.
Yeah.
Roughly about the same price. So the market got pretty big. This is going to change because thankfully GPUs are a little more sane nowadays. But in the meantime, Lenovo, Dell, and HP have looked and said, you know what, there's a market here. Put $1,000 to $1,200 and people are buying them left, right, and center. So maybe we'll see some competition here, and some of those margins, which are admittedly already narrow, might get narrowed down a little bit more so they don't jack up the price by $300 because you want an M.2. Hopefully.
The Dell one's interesting, and I assume they include Alienware in that group as well. Yeah. The Dell gaming, like Inspiron gaming series, G series.
Yeah.
That's fairly new though, right? Like,
that's
probably not included in that. But I would expect this number for Dell to actually increase.
I mean, they have had the sub $1,000 Dell Inspiron 15 gaming 7000 series notebooks for a couple of years now, which we've reviewed the past few iterations of them, and they've been really good machines. I think they sold a decent amount of them, but I think Jeremy's right about the momentum, the pent up demand for gaming computers, just
Right.
kind of going into the laptop realm.
Interesting stuff. I would not have expected Lenovo to be that huge in the space.
Well, I'm betting that not a lot of that's in North America
Yeah,
markets.
I think the Legion brand is big in Asia.
Yeah.
As opposed to over here where you barely see it.
Yeah. I mean, we see.
You don't
want to
know something terrible? Truly terrible.
Yeah.
He last appeared in a Dell commercial 15 years ago.
That might be like later than I would have guessed.
2000 to 2003.
But on the bright side, Josh, 2 of the people commenting knew that. It's not just us.
That's in 2003. Was
I'm
like
feeling old.
The
I'm
golden
getting older
age for
by
the Dell
minute.
pump and dump cheap ass.
I mean,
Inspiron.
it's also not mutually exclusive. Like, you are still getting old, but like
by the minute, yes.
Yeah, that's how that works, I think.
I'm still looking forward to when I can post a picture of the old box with a cow pattern on it.
Those were
You don't
good.
hear about them anymore.
The gateways were good times.
Yep.
We had a gateway store on Mall Road here. I think it's a mattress store now.
Probably more effective.
But, you know.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. This story also, Jeremy wrote, you were covering a news story from our buddy Kyle at Hard OCP, where they were revisiting older games, which were tough on the GPUs of that time, to kind of see how they handled newer cards, higher resolutions. Metro 2033, which had PhysX in it, of course, was on that list. Tomb Raider as well. What kind of results did we see? Oh, it looks like Crysis.
Crysis 3 is what that is.
Crysis 3
is what they went with.
Man, I benchmarked that game so many damn times.
Had to
That's how I
render
knew
all
the
water,
settings
remember?
menu from the photo.
Let's click over here to Kyle's story.
No,
So
that was Crysis 2 that did the water table tessellation.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
No, I think it was 2.
all right, what did we come up with, Jeremy? What were kind of their conclusions here?
Well, if you've got a 1080 Ti or in most cases a Vega 64, you can come back to these games, crank everything up to maximum at 1440p and probably at 4K and take a look at it, because it's guaranteed that back in the day, unless you had a pair of Titans, you didn't even crank everything up to maximum at 1080p.
Wow, Crysis 3 at 4K
It's still a demanding title.
is 55
it
frames
is.
per second. Yeah, on the 1080 Ti.
The Metro ones were the big ones. Last
Did
Light
he-
more so than
Did
2033.
he test the Redux versions of both Metro games? Because it kind of had those re-releases, both of them, I think.
Did it change any of the like tech in it or something?
I think
No.
it did.
I think so.
I thought it
So
changed the
Metro
engine a little bit.
2033 he doesn't say that. So maybe they were using the originals for accuracy.
If they don't say
sake.
Redux, then it's the originals.
4K 1080 Ti hit 48 frames per second. Again, with advanced depth of field and tessellation turned on. Again, these are max settings essentially.
So, but it shows that these games, when they first came out, were so far beyond the hardware of the time that it's just impressive. And a lot of them, once you crank it up, still look good to this day,
Jeez.
which is, something I miss
I
from.
can't really
the
think of
old
a title like that right now.
There isn't one.
I mean, Star Citizen, but that's another reason.
Susuna's Sacrifice, maybe.
No.
Senwa.
No,
No,
Sorry,
that runs
Senwa's.
at 60.
I just
Pretty-
fired it up
pretty
and realized that I need to do a
Is
lot to my
GTA
1080.
5 that?
GTA 5 CPU bound more than anything. It's just
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Is there what game is the most GPU bound today? I think a lot of the fact that consoles are higher performance now allows them to not have to.
Yeah. I'm sure
push
there's
one or
one
the
we're
other,
not
but
thinking
Maybe
about.
FC5.
No, not really.
That's more CPU
We
or
were
no?
running.
It's
We can do 1080. We are doing like Vegas 64, 1080p at like 90 FPS.
yeah. I'm thinking about how for the CPU benchmarks we do a 1080 Ti at 1080p, and every game we get above 60. I think max settings. I always do the maxed out 1080p on that
Yeah.
stuff, and some games are like getting like 150 frames a second.
Is that
at
good
1080p.
or bad that we don't have those games anymore?
That's bad.
I would consider it bad. I mean, okay. I don't believe that games have stopped looking better. as
Correct.
well. Like
I
if you
think the
look at Far,
software has improved dramatically over
Yeah.
the past 7 years.
I think the focus on optimization has gotten
Yeah.
better as well.
I mean, the fact that Crysis 3, you couldn't play Crysis 3 on hardware at the time at max settings doesn't help anyone. Right? No one's going back and playing Crysis 3, really.
It didn't. No, you're right. It doesn't. Fundamentally, having settings in a game engine that nobody can run is
Yeah.
not inherently useful, except as a like stress test benchmark mentality of things, which we appreciate, and I think a lot of the people who watch and listen to this show appreciate. But yeah,
Well,
no,
I think AMD and Nvidia appreciate it as well because
they love to sell
if your
GPUs.
if your mid range can do everything except not one or two settings not at maximum, why am I buying the top tier then?
Yep, you're right.
Yeah. We're really resolution bound now.
Yeah.
Like,
Need more ROPs. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but
well, like everyone's
it's
pushing
my-
higher resolutions,
Mhm.
whereas,
and I think we back then. What did you say? 2013
yeah.
and 2010.
I mean, we were doing
doing that. We were
4K
going
with
to like
Crysis 3.
to 25 by 14. That was the kind of the push
Yeah.
in 2010. But I will say that you look at Crysis. For some reason in the last couple of years I played Crysis 3 again.
It's still a great looking game.
and it still looks amazing.
yeah.
I just
Um,
finished it last week. It had been sitting there. I just hadn't
you go.
played it for forever, and I just suddenly realized, shit, I should fire this up.
But like Far
Yeah, it
Cry
looks pretty.
5, Assassin's Creed Origins, those games do look better. Like,
Mhm.
Crysis has the benefit of being sci-fi, so a lot of that stuff is good. But like, if
Yeah.
you look at the facial animation, the character animation, it's great. You look at Far Cry 5, it's very good. What's one of the other games that
I mean, we were playing Destiny the other day. That
Destiny
was
still looks
incredible.
fantastic.
Destiny 2 looks
an
great
HDR.
for as fast as it runs on
Yeah.
even mediocre hardware.
And I
it
think that's kind of where the
scales
shift goes.
really, really well. Like
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
you can play that on a lot of integrated graphics. It'll be an
Like,
awful
my kid
dynamic
plays that on
resolution.
a 1050,
Yeah,
GTX 1050, not even a TI, and it still looks
the
good.
it's dynamic resolutions which were implemented for
Well-
the consoles that have passed down to PC gaming
Yeah.
in some respects.
And that's sort of the funny thing is that right now you're actually looking more at upgrading your monitor than your graphics card.
Mhm.
Because I mean,
I hope
Far
so.
Cry 5 does wonderful HDR, but well, I've got an awesome video card and standard standard dynamic ratio monitors.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get rid of these 1920 by 1200 monitors from 2006. I just
Ryan and I were just discussing today how many.
it's this one thing, it's like, can you find everything that you want right now for a reasonable price? It's like, no.
Okay, if
So
you
why
if you
should
put
I
reasonable
upgrade?
price
Well,
in there,
because
then
I'm
no.
poor and I'm dumb.
So I have two 30-inch. Look up what year those came out.
Yeah.
Apple
Are they the
Cinema,
Dell?
No, they're the
3008s?
Apple Cinema Display
Oh.
CFL backlights, right? And they're 25 by 16. And I get away with that because I don't game on that machine, right? I do productivity and I try to be, productive, I guess.
I still have the back in 2009 when we bought the 3008 WCF, I think, from Dell.
Mm-hmm.
That's still on my main graphics test machine because it's 2560 by 1600.
It looks
Yeah.
like those came out in 2010, Ryan, but that seems
That's not
later.
possible. I don't
than-
think that's true.
Oh, no, they were discontinued in 2010.
Okay, that sounds better.
That's better. June
Yeah.
28th, 2004 is when that.
So
30-inch display
2004 is
came
when
out.
those monitors started being manufactured, and I've
Yeah.
had to replace the power supply on them twice.
Oh, they whine.
Yeah, they take a little while to warm up every morning when I wake up the PC.
yeah, I mean, I've
things
got
like that.
I've got a matching Apple
Look.
one and a Dell one on my desk as well.
I want a 32-inch 4K HDR screen. I want two of them. There you go. Like that's what I want, and we're getting really close to getting there.
So you're going to pretend like in racing games you're an F1 driver with a big thing right in the middle?
No, I'll just game on one display.
Fine.
The two displays is really just the productivity aspect of
The
it.
game on one, you have your Slack and your
Yeah.
whatever Discord and all that stuff
I
on
just,
the other one.
I
There
could
you
go to 3 HDR 32-inch screens, Josh, but I didn't want to be greedy about it. I didn't want to. I didn't
You don't
want
want to show off.
Yeah, exactly.
Look what my credit card can handle. Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say that you're starting to get too big. You go
A 32.
three by 32s is too big. I have a 30 and two 24s with the 24s rotated, and that's like 2 inches too much.
Yeah, I have an issue with my 230s where I don't really know where I want to put the keyboard.
They take up the entire desk.
They do. It's whatever. Desk space, whatever. You can deal with that. But like, depending on which, like if I'm focusing on a Word document that's on the left side of one of the left monitor or the right side of the right monitor, I feel like I physically have to shift my body, move the keyboard over one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's kind of problematic. But
I still love my 3 monitors because I've got what I'm writing in one spot. I've got IRC and whatever and another in a Word document. Then I got the PDF of the crap that I'm supposed to be writing about on the other one, and everything works great.
You right?
And I can edit while I'm doing edit photos on one, while I'm uploading to the side on another, and then people are yelling me on the third.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's a very important part. The people yelling.
People yelling
at
at
me.
you. And then you have that rear monitor, which is actually your wife yelling at you from the other room.
You've met my wife?
So yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting of Kyle and Brent to go back and look at some of the older titles and stuff.
We kind of blew our load on the next story.
It's kind of I find it interesting that this kind of is telling.
I tried.
It's telling of like there's not a whole lot to look at currently. If your goal
Not in
is
the GPU space.
no
No games coming out.
2010 games.
No graphics cards coming out.
Speaking of which, let's get to the Samsung C32 HD70, which is it's a Samsung monitor. It's a 1440p, 32-inch, 144 hertz, curved VA panel. That is this an HDR screen as well?
Yes, it's FreeSync 2 HDR.
It wasn't branded as that until yesterday. Now
This
it
is
is a
true.
FreeSync 2 HDR panel. Is this
Kinda
one that
pretty.
Alta was telling us about today and yesterday?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're going to get one of these in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Take a look at.
So, Jeremy, did Guru 3D guys have anything in particular to say about this display? Like clearly, they're running the Far Cry 5 benchmark I see in that particular screenshot. so.
Yep. They really, really liked it. They thought that the implementation was just about perfect for the initial release of what is now FreeSync 2 HDR.
Mhm.
It's backwards compatible, and it had one interesting feature, which is standard FreeSync mode, where your dynamic resolution goes between 120 to 144 hertz. If you find you've got tearing issues on the ultimate FreeSync, which is between 48 to 144 hertz.
What was
So
the
you
first
can
range again?
120 to 144.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it limits it down if for whatever reason your system is experiencing tearing because the dynamic range is jumping too much.
Well, 120
And
to
it-
144 is a tiny range.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but compared to like what you guys saw when it first arrived, you saw pretty nasty tearing.
Well, I mean, you would see that on that if you ever drop below 120 frames per second, because you can't do LFC, low frame rate compensation, in that range. You can on the, what'd you say, 48
to 144.
To 144?
Yeah.
You can do LFC on that so that if you drop below it. Do they say what changes, what other thing changes when you move between those FreeSync ranges?
That is essentially it. It's just a little OSD.
There has to be something else.
switch.
Otherwise, you would only ever be in the larger range, right? My guess is that there is a color quality or bitrate change or something like that occurs. I mean, because
And I'm
if
trying to see.
there
'cause
would
it's
literally be no
possible
reason for you to not ever be in the 48 to
Yeah.
144 range. If it
You
if it
could
were
have
the
something
same.
that's causing tearing. Like you could just have
No.
a card that isn't quite doing it.
Well,
No,
if you had
that's the whole
48 to
point.
144, you'd have LFC and you would never see tearing.
Right.
Well, unless you went above 144.
Unless you go above 144.
Which,
But in the
Yeah.
120 to 144, you'd be in the exact same situation on the high side, but everything below 120 would be tearing. So I
And I believe the other thing is that the standard supports HDMI, whereas if you want the ultimate, you have to use DisplayPort.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some of that in the past with FreeSync displays. That might be it.
That could be the difference then. So
if you
DisplayPort
don't
supports the wider range.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because the HDMI part's still a hack-on add-on, right? It's not actually part of the spec until 2.1 comes out.
Yeah.
That could be it. Well, what's the price on that display? Did they say?
I was just flipping through. I think it's around $500.
Okay. It's pretty good, and if it's actually rated as a FreeSync 2 HDR monitor, that means it's going to be display HDR 600 certified
600,
or above, which is pretty good. Better than the couple of monitors we've seen here, which have been like 400 or not rated at all.
Yeah.
But under what the max brightness level of the Asus and Acer G-Sync HDR panels will be. So I am interested to get this monitor in and kind of see how it compares to those G-Sync HDR screens. But this is bigger. It's funny. It's a bigger screen, but a lower resolution. Same refresh rate, but it's VA instead of IPS. or what have you.
IPS.
So yeah, 549 on that particular monitor. So
And it does come with another fun benefit.
what's that?
You need to start looking for firmware updates for your monitors nowadays.
Yeah.
Be aware of this.
Yeah. That actually leads well into
No, it does not.
because
I've got to interrupt one thing. Apparently, I've been notified that Kingdom Come Deliverance at 4K on a high-end system is maybe pushing 40 frames per second.
Okay. Yeah.
all right, fine. You're interrupting.
You guys
me.
ought to get that and test it.
All right.
Do it.
Which leads so we'll cut that part out. Which leads nicely into the picks of the week, and my first pick of the week, which is the Samsung. Does this have the Q6F? Is the series of TV?
It has 2018 on the box.
It literally says
no
2018 on the
soundbar?
box. This is a QLED 4K UHD smart TV. It's $1,200. This is the 55-inch version. This also you should be looking for firmware updates for, Jeremy, as this firmware updates for this enables FreeSync support. So they're not calling it FreeSync 2 HDR. It's just FreeSync at this point.
So it's not actually HDR?
Well, I'm getting some clarification on that, and I think it's because the TV FreeSync stuff was being branded before they had made the decision to change the brand.
And this TV isn't going to be displayed HDR 600 certified because that's a monitor certification. It's not a TV certification.
It's not. I thought it was just a general display certification.
But no monitors go through it, or no TVs,
go through it. Well, it needs to. So to be FreeSync 2 HDR, you have to be at that quality level or above. I don't think you have to have that specific certification. You just have to be at that level or above. But that's up to AMD on whether or not they're going to go through that process themselves. But this TV will support FreeSync in 2 modes. At 4K, it will do 48 to 60 hertz FreeSync, which is good, but does not support LFC, right? So your typical kind of FreeSync 4K range issue. But if you do 1080p, it will do 48 to 120 hertz, and then it will support LFC. So if you hook up a gaming PC to this, you can run it at 1080p up to 120 hertz. You get HDR, you get FreeSync capability on that. You can hook up your Xbox One and get FreeSync support as well built into it. I will say, having spent 2 days with this monitor thus far, like the menu system is obnoxious.
It's not as bad as some of the older TVs. I will say.
To enable it,
It's still
tell me the
obnoxious.
process of how you enable it.
Well, first you have to go to the settings menu, then go to the settings menu, then go down a couple of items, then go to like external device support, and then go to gaming mode, turn on gaming mode, and then go to additional options and turn on FreeSync in either basic or ultimate mode.
So like I said,
Sounds like you've done this
No,
a
they
few
didn't do
times.
that once though, in theory.
yeah, and it's also like they don't describe what ultimate versus basic
No, they
means
don't.
in the settings. And when you ask AMD, they're like, you need to ask Samsung about this. This is their product. I'm like, yeah, but that's a crappy answer because you're the one, it's your technology. You should be messaging it better. And they go, yeah, you're probably right. And then we go on from there. So we're still testing out. We're still screwing with it. There's some updates and driver things that have to occur. But the idea of variable refresh support, no tearing, on the TV, both for your console, where its usefulness right now I'd say is limited because of how console games are coded to either hit 30 flat or hit 60 flat, and the movement in between them is pretty rare. Whereas on a PC, that's obviously not the case. If you hook up a PC up to a giant 55-inch or 65-inch HDR TV, the FreeSync will definitely be a big advantage for that. So don't buy this TV now. Wait for us to spend some time with it and review it and come back to you with some specific answer. But there you
It's
go.
only $1,000 at Best Buy.
Oh,
Looks
really?
like the Amazon is a third-party seller, so it's jacked up a little bit.
Amazon.
Yeah, it's on
Alright.
clearance at Best. That's probably not the 2018 one.
Yeah.
This is confusing.
Yeah. TV model numbers are a pain in the ass. Jeremy, what do you got for me?
A nice fancy little fractal design case at just about half price. The larger one, Sebastian quite liked. Well, the Focus G Mini is, for a micro ATX, $50 Canadian. Why not?
It's a pretty good deal. In American dollars, that's like $30 or something like that, right? 35.
No.
Something.
And you know what my favorite thing about it is?
What's that?
No RGBs.
Wait, yeah, there is. Look,
It has a white LED.
It has
fan.
LEDs, but not RGB
Now,
LEDs.
it's neither an
Okay.
R, a G, nor a B.
No, it's all of those.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what happens
That's
if
not
I...
how LED mixtures work at all.
And 2 optical drive bays.
Ugh.
You
Throw it
know
in the
it.
Trash.
Oh man, yeah, it's worthless.
On a micro ATX, even better.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I called Fractal Design, Josh specifically from Fractal Design, and I said, you know what, you need more optical drives spaces. He's like, you're
This never
absolutely
happened.
right, because you
Never
are a
happened.
leading voice in
You're
the
a
tech
liar.
community.
You're a liar. He lied like 3 times in that sentence,
Your name's not Josh.
in particular at the end.
Right.
What's your pick?
Me? It's going to be shocking. Shocking, I know.
I'm prepared to be shocked.
So here I am. I obviously envy Alan terribly.
Who we
All I
fired?
ever
you wanna
want
be
to do
fired
is,
too?
is
I
have
mean,
more and more storage and more hair growth than I typically have. But there are other things about Alan. I mean, like his love of Scirocco's and VWs. I simply don't understand. It's incomprehensible. However, storage. From Mushkin, of all places, a Silicon Magic,
Silicon
SM.
Motion,
Silicon Motion
which doesn't
controller.
really make a whole lot of sense now that I think about it.
Oh, but it does.
I got an answer for
500
that.
gig NVMe, 2.6 gigabyte per second, and around 2 gigs writes. This is at 133, one of the cheapest, fastest NVMe drives that you can get. I mean, this is comparable, in fact, a little bit better than those BPX units that have been sub $200 for quite a while. The other one that Alan tested that was just by 2, it's about the same price as this and significantly slower. So this is a fantastic price for an NVMe drive, and nearly anybody could buy this. I mean, this is mainstream SATA 6 500 gig size, and you're 4 times faster than that, if not more.
Fair enough. I wonder what is happening. Why is it clicking things? I don't know. Ken, this is your turn. You speak of the
so we've been
words.
working with this motherboard for a little bit for kind of some upcoming testing and article. I went to Micro Center. We need a Z370 board. And I just kind of stood there and looked at the wall. And I went, I don't know. I guess I'll buy an ROG board. But what's the difference between all these ROG boards? As it turns out, not a whole hell of a lot until you get to like the Maximus Apex for the extreme overclocking that only has 2 DIMM slots. So I went with the cheapest one, and it's been a really, really solid motherboard. It's got a nice little red and black design there, about $150. All the features you could want from a Z370 board, dual M.2 slots. I don't know, it works. It works well. it's a motherboard.
156.
Yeah. Z370 has really come down, as it turns out.
And it's designed for battle and
Yeah.
maximum performance and connectivity and speed.
I don't think it has RGBs.
That seems impossible.
There is one LED on the
Lies.
chipset. I don't know. Oh no, it is. Wait, go up.
Wait, here?
Yeah, there's just a red
Look at
logo.
that eye.
It's just a red logo. It probably does have the RGB headers. I'm sure it does, but
Multiple
No.
fan headers.
Look at those single layer SATA 6.
yeah,
I
it's
haven't
a
ever
weird
seen
layout.
that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind
They're
of
not the double slots.
No, they're not. It's like they ran out of stuff to put on the motherboard.
PS2 port.
Yeah, I've had zero complaints. It's been a solid experience. It's just,
Cool.
you need to build a Coffee Lake system.
It does have RGB stickers at least, right? So you can pick your color stickers. so we got that going for us at the very least. Let's see. Alex, did you put anything in here?
I did not.
Okay. All right.
Loser.
Well, we can end the show then. There we go. I want to make sure before we killed it off. Thanks everybody for joining us. PCPro.com/podcast is the URL you can go to. You'll find the show notes, links to all the stories we talked about, ways to subscribe to the show, YouTube video embeds, MP3 file downloads. All that is there. Thank you to everybody for joining us on the live stream. Thank you for everybody for listening to the show. Hope you find something useful out of it. We do have one more Patreon. Says they only edited their pledge from $5 to $5.50, so I don't. Usually it's like $1 minimum to get their fancy name read during the show, right?
You've already segued
Fancy,
to it.
huh?
You just gotta do it.
Darth Malventano says, "I hear Josh gets joy from shocking floppies." So, I guess saying that out loud was worth 50 cents. Probably.
It's not really that scandalous, as it turns out.
But it's a very long phrase, though. It's a very long thing. It's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week with another episode, and see you later. Thanks everyone.
Show us the Lenovo, Ken.
What?
Show
Oh,
us the Lenovo.
This is a modern one.
No, not that one.
I don't have it yet.
Oh.
Oh,
Do you have a tracking number yet?
No, I emailed them today. What was it? Last Friday, I got an email from them saying, you didn't give me your country and your address, which you could probably look up pretty easily and figure out.
If you Google it, it'll give you.
Well,
the
they can't
country.
use Google, so there's that.
If you if you Alibaba it, that's
if you
India.
QQ it, Baidu it. If you Baidu it,
Tencent.
it's a company.
Is that it's a Chinese company though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you Baidu it, you'll probably figure it out. Yeah. So then I gave them my country.
And you have not heard back
and-
since Friday?
No, I emailed them this
Aw.
afternoon. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get an email right now because 12 hours time
Maybe.
difference.
That's true. You're in their work
I want to
time.
believe it's in the mail.
Hope springs eternal in the youth today.
I want to believe a lot of crap,
Yeah.
but Dapple, my Wildcats. Let's see, where are they going? I haven't really paid that much attention. I hear 8-9 for Kevin Knox and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's where I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to Brooklyn to watch that.
No sleep till. Brooklyn. That's real old. Real
Yeah.
old.
When did that album come out?
150
Like
years ago.
1986.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. Was it Licensed to Ill?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Let's look it up.
A lot of comments about being
License.
sponsored by Coke on this podcast.
I wish.
1986.
86.
Yep.
Holy moly.
That's older than me.
Yeah,
When
that
did
was
the better
right
version
around the
come out?
time the Top Gun came out.
Yeah.
Now, Top Gun was a quality movie.
It was. I took one of my first girlfriends there ever. I
They're
was a freshman. She
still
was a
making a
sophomore. My
new-
parents would not let me date
Yeah.
before my freshman year. She was a nice Mormon girl.
They were worried about you?
You know, in my youth, I had hair and was skinny and actually looked somewhat attractive. I still had the terrible social skills. that I possess today, which is the trump card for my romantic life or lack thereof.
Yes,
Perfectly timed.
Yes.
I'm just amazed it took Morris Minor and the Majors 2 years to make the better version of that song. Stutter
I
Rap.
don't know what you're saying, but I don't agree with it.
Oh, good
I
God.
don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Are we talking about
How
Take
can
My
you
Breath
not?
Away from the Top Gun soundtrack?
No,
Berlin.
Beastie Boys.
What about Kenny Loggins? Everything Kenny Loggins has ever done is amazing.
It is. I hear he's redoing another Danger Zone for the
Yeah.
next.
For the new movie? Yeah,
Yeah.
hell
Oh,
yeah.
Kenny
Yeah.
Loggins wants a paycheck.
Everybody wants a paycheck.
What's the you'll be flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong?
Sure
It's
will.
one of the best lines.
What was Kenny Loggins called in Archer? K-Log? No. What was,
Mm,
Yeah.
was
I
it?
don't know.
I don't remember.
I was keeping up with foreign relations. Is that what it is? International relations. Flipping him the bird. Yeah, Goose. I know. I
Yeah,
get it.
I'm upside down.
I remember being very sad watching, and Goose was dead. It was very sad.
Oh, spoiler.
Spoiler alert! It's 1986. Called. It's literally been, 30 years.
Yes,
32
30
You're
years.
straying into the danger zone here.
That was probably, if that wasn't the beginning, it was the accelerant for my desire to fly airplanes and be in the Air Force.
You're probably the
and-
only one that had that happen.
It wasn't the Air
Oh, good
Force.
for you.
I know, I understand that, but it was nobody wanted to be in the Navy, right?
Come on, that was okay. If the easiest pilot slot you could ever get
Was the
is to go
Rio?
into the Marine Corps. Easiest
Why?
pilot slot.
Why?
You had to go through Marine Corps basic and suffer through Marine Corps. Period.
So why would that make it the easiest slot to get?
Okay, it was
You
the
only have
most
to eat
open
crayons.
slots, rather.
Because nobody wanted to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, I get you. Yeah,
Fly
yeah,
Don't call it the
F-18s
chair
and
force for
AV-8 Harriers.
yeah, yeah. I always thought the excitement.
What about the Space Force? Eh?
Ah,
Oh, I can't
could be a
wait.
space cadet soon.
What was that tweet I saw recently? Making fun of Trump. It was like, I can't believe there's a president who has sex with porn stars and wants to create a space force, and I hate him. Right? Like, it's incomprehensible to me that these exist. I can't believe there's a
You know what we
president.
forgot?
Hey, you live
You know
long
what
enough to
we
get what
forgot
you
to
wish
mention?
for, I think was the response.
Oh, you forgot to mention your Fort Collins thing.
Sunday.
Mm.
Sunday at
Mention it.
Coopersmith.
We could put it
2
in the
o'clock
notes.
p.m. Come and join us.
Where's it at?
Coopersmith?
Cooper Smith's.
It's one of the older
Barrel makers.
brewery bars that was ever open, period, ever. It was like 1988 when it first opened. It was before home brewing was as big as it is, and
Yeah.
microbrews. So, got good stuff there. Good food.
I won't be flying up, but it does sound like
I know.
fun.
So yeah, Fort Collins, if you're anywhere around there, come join us.
How
2
far is
o'clock.
Fort Collins from you?
64 miles.
Okay. All right.
So I just hop in the Stang and buzz on down. Finally got
something
new
out to the
tires
mailing
with
list.
that. Servicing, that's inexpensive.
Weird.
Just make it rain, Josh. Make it rain.
Please don't.
No.
All right, everybody, that's it. I got to go home and pack still for a flight tomorrow. I'm very bad at planning ahead. So,
As it turns out,
Your mail. 2 pairs of underwear, a pair of socks, you're done.
I got to brush
And you can buy them in New York.
jeans and a button-up shirt. Like-
Button up.
no.
Like, I'm not sitting at the
yeah,
at the tables at the floor level,
I
right?
know. Just-
I want a spot in a suite up at the
Yeah.
top, right? So there's no cameras on me. They're not drafting me, as far as I know. If they call my name, I will gladly go down there and accept the hat and jersey. As
See,
part
so
of
you
the
don't
deal.
need the shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Just come down shirtless. It's like, I'm here. I need that jersey now. Bring it here, commish. Let's
Stab.
go. Yeah, toothbrush is
All
probably
right.
a good idea, Shambles. All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the future.
Next week, maybe.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Right.